All right, good afternoon and welcome to the Skill Up Show. It is Monday afternoon, 1 p.m., that time where we come on this live webinar to have a conversation on how we can skill up ourselves as parents of young children and preteens so that we are able to skill up our children. If you are here with me, welcome to the show. My name is Maribel Chima, and I am the founder of the Parenting Through Mentorship Academy and PTM Resources, the proud matron, of course, of the Mastermind Circle, a peer mentorship and accountability group that we run for young children. If you are here, you are in the right place, especially if you are a parent of a young person and a parent of a preteen. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about how we can guide our preteens to develop grit and perseverance for long-term success. That is what we are talking about today. Yes, we're talking about young children and preteens, meaning we're talking about children who are between 6 and 13. I like to stretch it to 13. I know that preteens end before they become teenagers, and it is expected that our children are teenagers by the time they are 13. But you will agree with me that in many cases, our 13-year-olds still have so many gaps, right? So many gaps and carryovers from their preteen age. So, for the purpose of support and motivation, I like to stretch preteens to after or just teen. So I like to work with children even when they turn 13. And then when they become 14, then we can say, okay, at this juncture, you should be so grounded that you should do your teenage with grits and all of the skills that you need to navigate as a teenager. Welcome to the show. Grit is passion and perseverance put together. It is passion and perseverance to pursue long term goals. It is building stamina for the journey. It is what we like to call staying power. Now, you would agree with me that if you are raising children in this generation, you are raising children in today's world where distractions are so many. The distractions are so many. The ease of life for the average Gen Z and the average alpha generation child, there is so much that emphasis, right? There's so much emphasis the on the soft life. Yes, so there's so much emphasis on the soft life. There's so much emphasis on doing you, because I'm using this language because this is the language that our children use already. If you have preteens, you have 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds, you must have heard this kind of vocabulary amongst them or amongst their friends or amongst other children if your children don't talk like this. So it is all over the place. Amongst adults, we're talking about the soft life. We're talking about I didn't come to carry last, I didn't come to suffer, I didn't come to this, and all of that. So there is the emphasis is so much on the soft life, and the distractions are so many that if we don't begin to teach our children grit today, then if we don't teach them staying power, if we don't teach them perseverance, if we don't teach them all of these things that keep them on track while they are focused on a goal or on a vision, then we will be doing them a lot of disservice. All right, so I'm going to take a few minutes to define what grit is. All right, so what is grit really? It's a big word, okay, or it's a word that people use and it ends up sounding like it's some technical thing, but it's not technical. It's really very simple. Grit is staying power. I wrote here that grit is the combination of passion and sustained perseverance applied towards long-term goals or achievements. It involves walking through challenges and mistakes or failures and not giving up. The ability to stay on a task, the ability to stay with your vision on a goal, the ability to pursue a dream or a vision, all right? Not because it is easy, but because you are determined to see it to the end. That is what grit is. And then perseverance is the ability to keep going in spite of these obstacles or difficulties, refusing to give up. Now, bring it home, dear parents. Just think about your 10-year-old. Think about your 12-year-old. Think about even your 14-year-old. And think of the gaps in their lives presently. If you do not find the need to do more around grit, please tell me in the comment section. If you have that child that you don't need to work on, you have that child that you don't need to do more when it comes to them staying on a task, or when it comes to them staying on and achieving a goal. You have a child that on his own, he can begin a task, he will see it to the end. On his own, he can set goals and he will sit on those goals to the end. On their own, they don't need any extra motivation from you. They can get it right. Please share with me in the comment section if you have this child. But if you don't have this child, then I say to you, you're not alone. All right, you're not alone, because at this age is a time where you need to come closer. Okay, come closer, dear parents. This is the age where we need to sit down and begin to help our children grind this skill in. We want them to get a level of grit before they become teenagers. Yes. Why is it very important at this phase? I will be sharing a few reasons why it's very important at this stage. But simply, at this stage, right, your children are still young. I've been singing this one. It's beginning to sound like a broken record if you follow me or you listen to my sessions, right? At this age, where your child is 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, you still have your child's ears. Your child has just left for the 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds. They have just left being toddlers. That phase where all they want to do is get your approval. Your toddler wants to get your approval. Your toddler wants mommy or daddy to be happy with them. Your toddler wants to show off a skill because you will be proud of them. So for your toddler, you have their hearts, you have their ears, you have everything. Anything you want to put there is easy to put there if you know what to do with the toddler at that phase. Now, your child is just moving from being a toddler into becoming a school-age child where autonomy is beginning to set in. Now, if there is anything that you have missed, if there is anything you didn't do when they were toddlers, and if you would want them to sustain grit, or if you want them to, become gritty, all right, then you need to stay in there and begin to push this skill. Okay, I have said this many times that the preteen phase of your child's life, the school age and preteen phase of your child's life, is the phase for skills. That is when you need to skill up your child as much as possible. See, when your children are teenagers, that's not the time for skilling up. If you are trying to skill your child up as a teenager, you came to the party slightly late, okay? Because it's more difficult. And I hope you know by now, right, according to Maria Montessori, that the earlier it's not just Montessori, okay? It's logic even. Think about it. The earlier it is that our children learn certain skills, the earlier it is that we learn skills, the more easily we will gain mastery in those skills. So the earlier you get children to developing skills, the better for them to gain mastery in these areas. So yes, for your teenagers, the moment they become 16, 17, first of all, it doesn't even come that easy, right, for them to pick those skills. It takes more energy and more determination and motivation, first off, for the child to even learn the skill that at 6 they would have learned with so much ease. At 4, they would have learned even better. That is the irony of it. You would think that, oh, they're so young, what do they understand? But no, that is the phase in their life where their mind is absorbent and it is absorbing everything in their environment. They are learning in the most authentic and easy way during that phase. So now, by the time they become teenagers, their mind is not that absorbent anymore. And then, two, autonomy is already in the as a barrier, is already there as a barrier, because at this point your child already thinks, "Ah, I want to do only what I want to do. Like, you are stressing me with all these extra things." So at this point, your child's motivation level is probably low. All right, especially when it is something external that you are the one introducing, and it's not one of those fun things that the child wants to do. So at this stage, the child will only be motivated to do something that they want and they love. Any other thing that you are introducing, it means that you will have to, you will have to push a little more, to the point where the child can now believe you, or the child cannot trust that, okay, this thing is okay, it's good for me. That is the point your child begins to muster up, some motivation, to begin to motivate themselves gradually. I hope you know that when children become teenagers, motivation, I mean, they can't learn anything, or they can't do anything, effectively, until they decide on their own that, something, I want to do this. So that is why you find out that you are on one particular thing with your child over and over again. You are trying to get them to learn to do a particular thing for so long, and it becomes like, this child is deliberately choosing not to. It's because the child is not in that space where the child understands why this is important to them. It's not originating from them. It's not their own thing. All right. It is still you motivating them externally. So until the child gets to the point, right, which of course will take a lot of practice and will take a lot of self-motivation for the child to get there. That is when that whatever it is that you want to change, or the skill that you want to instill, that is when it takes roots. All right. So that is why we say, you see this preteen phase, you see this stage, school age phase, between when they are 6 and 12 or 13, as I like to drag in. Okay, that is the phase that you want to lock in any skill that you want. And I said here that grit can be a skill if you like. Okay, it can be a skill if you like. It can be an attribute, basically. But what it simply means is that your child has got staying power. It's a combination of passion and sustained perseverance towards a long-term goal. It is that thing that makes your child say, Odeshi, that thing that makes you say, something, it may be difficult, but I am not giving up. I am here. I am seeing this to the end. And you will testify, if you're a parent of a young child or preteen today, it's not one of those things that comes easily to our children. Our children, a lot of the times, are not in that space. That is why they need us. That is why they need the support system that we create to help them build this. If we're not doing this, then we are not helping or supporting our children the way we need to support them. I think when I talk, I sweat, even when it is cold. I don't know why. Okay, let's not talk about that. But I think it's something that I need to. But I think I know, I have an idea why that is happening. All right, then. So let's move on. Let's not get distracted. All right. So let's look at, why. Okay. I started talking about why it is important. All right. I said, first of all, that it's easier for us to teach them, and it's easier for them to internalize it when we teach grit as early as possible. Okay. Why do we need to teach grit at all? It will help them stay motivated in their academics and every other area of their life. It will help your child when they learn grit, okay, when they understand why they need grit, when grit is modeled to them, and when grit is taught, and we create a system where we can teach our children, or where we can pass down this skill or this attribute to our children. What happens is it helps them stay motivated in every area of their life, whether it's the academics, whether it's in the skills or other talent, and whether it's in the talents, that they are honing, or in every area of their lives. When we do this, we help them stay motivated. So what does that tell you? It simply says that if you are trying to raise a child who has grit, then it is imperative that the child understands the place of goal setting in their lives. So you cannot say that you want to teach your child grit, or you want to help your child develop grit, and you are that parent who doesn't understand that. It doesn't matter how young your child is, your school age child or your preteen, they need to be introduced to the concept of goal setting and planning to achieve their goals and staying on track to achieve those goals. This is why when the children join us in the mastermind circle, so the mastermind circle is our peer mentorship and accountability group that we run for young children and preteens. So when children come to us in the mastermind circle, the first thing that we do in the mastermind circle is get the children to set goals for themselves. We take them through a process of setting goals, not just for the sake of setting goals, but because we want them to understand why they need to set goals. We want them to understand why goals are important, right, in their journey. So the moment the children understand why they need to set goals, they understand how to set the goals, and they go ahead to set the goals, then it's easy for you to teach them grit, because now you have something to work on. So what I'm saying is, you cannot teach grit. You cannot say, I am helping my child develop grit without getting your child to understand the concept of goal setting and working to achieve their goals. So when we get them to that place, then we're ready to start teaching them grit, like we do in the mastermind circle. So when the children come into the mastermind circle, they set these goals, and we don't leave it there. We use every tool, all right? We use every tool around us to help them understand and to appreciate the concept of goal setting. We help them go through the process. We take a whole week sometimes. Why am I saying sometimes? We took, like, in this cohort, we took like a whole month to get children to set goals step by step, up to the point that they plan for their goals, they set targets for their goals, and then of course they set targets for themselves. They broke their goals down to, weekly and then daily activities. Yes, we have that much time in the mastermind circle. We have that much time because we understand the group of children that we are working with, and we understand the need for skills and not just information amongst this group of children. So when you work with young children, school age children and preteens, you do not want to load them with information, because they do not have the capacity to take information, process the information, and then begin to apply the information in the areas of their lives. What you want to do is, you want to be as practical as possible with these children. They need more of demonstration. They need more of seeing, right? Beholding, right? They need more of beholding someone who is doing it. They need more of practical approaches to doing it. They need more of hand holding and step-by-step approach to achieving whatever it is that they have to achieve. They need a lot of modeling, and that's what we do for this group of children. So yes, if you're going to raise children who will be gritty, then you must show them the how. You must teach them to set goals, because it is the goals that they are going to stay on and, of course, persevere in. Now, when there is nothing to persevere on, then you are just, you're not teaching grit, basically. All right? You're not teaching grit, basically. So when the children have finished setting those goals, we now break it down for them, as we said. We break it down together, and then they begin to work one day at a time. One day at a time. Now, I say to the parents in the mastermind and their children, it is not going to be easy. Who says? These are children who have been used to doing things. Some of them wake up in the morning. All they need to do is get into the bathroom, have their bath, grab their bag, and they've gone to school, right? And that's about it. Now, all of a sudden, the child has to wake up in the morning and actually do a to-do list. Yes, the children in the mastermind actually would do a to-do list, in the morning. So they have their 5 things or more that they plan to achieve throughout that day. So your child is becoming mindful. Your child is becoming intentional. Your child is becoming conscious of the things that they need in their life in order for them to succeed. All right. Now, at some point, the child will struggle because, of course, this is someone who was used to just dragging their bag and going away. This is someone who didn't have any responsibilities. This is someone that their responsibilities was really very basic. Wake up, dress up, eat food, go sit down, be taught, come back, do homework, and that's about it. And now all of a sudden you are saying, oh, you need to be intentional about this part. You need to have 5, 6, 7 things that you're going to do, and you need to put it at the back of your mind that you need to achieve this, and then you need to stay on there until you achieve it, because you are developing grit. So that's why I said, if you don't have goals, if the children do not set goals, if the children do not understand the place of goal setting, then you are not ready to start teaching grit. You're not ready to help your children become gritty. If you're going to get them to be gritty and start, building stamina and start building staying power, then there has to be something that keeps them on track to do that. All right. The next one is it will foster resilience, helping them to bounce back from failure and from mistakes. This is very, very key. This is another reason why you must teach grit to your children as early as possible. I'll tell you a story. When our son graduated from primary school and moved on to secondary school, he was about 13 at this stage, right? So he had moved on to secondary school, and it so happened that a lot of his friends were not in the school. They had like a lot of new, he had to meet a lot of new people. I mean, so all the people he's known all his life since he was a little boy, all of a sudden his best friends, and his closest friends were all gone. And then he was alone. Now, you would think that, every child will react. I mean, it's a new school, it's not a big deal and all of that. And it wasn't like he even went to a boarding school, it was a day school. But our son did not take it well. Now, he never opened his mouth to say this was a problem. In fact, I don't think he even recognized that this was a challenge. It just so happened that he just didn't have, he just didn't have people that he could, talk with, as he used to. Things it was like something he didn't see coming. That was what happened to him. He didn't see it coming, and we didn't think too much of it because he was just moving from an elementary school that has the senior secondary school rather. So we didn't think there was a big need for any serious preparation as per transitioning and all of that. Yeah, we actually did some level of transitioning, and all of that, what to expect. We do that every school year. But our son just didn't take this well. I think that's what happened. He just didn't take this well. All right. So he got in there and he started throttling through the year. But what we noticed was we now realized that his grades were beginning to dwindle. All right. So his grades were beginning to dwindle. And then the school will call us and he's missed an assignment here. Now, this is someone that became independent as far as the academic work is concerned. This is someone that became independent from year 4. By the time my children are in year 4, I don't have any business with their homework, how they do their homework and all of that. At the most, I would just check the communication book and be sure that you have all the books that you need, you've got them in, and all of that. So the goal is for us to help our children become academically independent by the time they are around age 8, 9, thereabouts. Okay, it's for a reason. All right, of course, because we want you to lead your learning. We are raising lifelong learners, so we want our children to love learning enough that they want to learn. We want them to love being successful or excellent enough that they want to achieve excellence, on their own. And so it's something that we start very early to get them to be independent academically. So I am talking about someone, as I said, that has been independent academically since he was 4. I'm talking about, since year 4, when he was about 8 going on 9. All right. Now I'm talking of someone that has been top 3, right? All through his school, his time in school, no matter wherever, it is that he finds himself. So this is the kind of person I'm talking about. And then all of a sudden, we were getting all that, I would get a message from school saying he's not turned in an assignment. Okay. And then this is me. This is someone that was busy, right? When he got home, I saw him busy doing his homework, and I'm like, okay, how's it going? Fine, and all of that. So I wouldn't have thought. All right. And then that was not all. His first semester, his first term, I think first CAT he came, and for the first time, I think that was the first time he had a certain grade, right? He had a certain grade that we had never seen in his, how many years he started school from nursery. Okay, we've never seen that kind of results before. And then he had a result that was unlike him. Now, I'm not saying that we 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 get thrown, overboard if our children are not doing well. We understand the fact that there will be failures at some point, and all of that. We understand that, anything can happen, and we're not parents that would insist you must, in that way. But then this one was a first ever. All right, so it was like it rang a bell for me, like, okay, what is going on here? All right, so we saw his grades dwindle for the first time. His average came to a level that we hadn't seen. And this was just year seven. What's going on? So we started, inquiring and all of that. That's when I realized that, man, child was going through a lot that we didn't think was anything. All right, we didn't think it was anything, but it was a lot. It was a big deal for him, and so he was becoming disinterested in schoolwork. School wasn't fun or wasn't exciting. So it was more like I come in, I sit down, I do what I have to do. I didn't have people to talk to, I didn't have friends. So he wasn't even present per se. So a lot of times he's, oh well, oh well, oh well, and all of that. So we started working on this. All right. At this point, at the end of first term, his results came and it wasn't anything like him. All right. So by second term, good thing, the mastermind circle. Of course, he's in the mastermind circle. And so he set his goals for term two. All right, he set his goals for term two. Of course, he didn't achieve his goals for term one. So we went back to the drawing board and we set goals for the second quarter of the year. All right, and then he set his goal just like every other mastermind partner. And now this time, because there was something. In the first place, there was also a goal, but now I can see that there was a challenge, and we were paying more attention. There was something to work on. All we needed to do was go back to his goals and then, of course, begin to throttle from his goals, right? As the expectations. We didn't set this for you. You set this for yourself. Yes, you've made mistakes. Yes, there's been failure. Yes, it's been this and it's all of that, but it's okay. Failures are actually room for you to do better and all of that. So use that as your motivation and all of that. And then we began to throttle from there. All right. By second term, he had come up, his grades were doing well and all of that. And so because we had a goal, so we also had to set goals for ourselves, because now we see that the child had a need that we needed to work on. The need that we needed to work on as his parents, the need that I needed to work on as his matron in the mastermind circle. And so, of course, I also brought in his mentor. I made him understand that, his personal mentor, I made him understand that he was going through a phase like this and all of that. So with all of this support, by the time he was done, by the end of year seven, when he got back to school in year eight, he had picked himself up, he had started making friends, started relaxing and all of that. And so we were able to, help him come out of that. By the end of year eight, he was pretty, and, year nine came and he was free flow, and all of that. So what am I saying? When there is a goal, or when there are goals, when the child is in the space where the child already understands that I have a vision, I have where I am going to, there are expectations. When these are in place, it is easy for you to get the child in that space where you begin to help the child develop grit. Okay, and then of course, when you're going to teach children grit, you must be in that space also where you understand that children are going through a phase. So you are not chastising them. You are not breathing down their neck. You understand that there is a process that is going on here. There is a journey that is going on here, and that there is a skill, or, this attribute. I don't know. I like to say it's an attribute, it's a skill, whatever. All right. So it's a skill. There is a skill that has not been developed fully, and your goal is to help the child develop that skill fully. All right. And so you are able to stay in there supporting the child. The last word is, when you have this, you're able to develop grit when you're able to develop grit at an early age, it leads to long-term success by instilling habits and persistence, all right, and of course determination. So yes, when you think of grit as something that your child needs to develop right now. Your 6 year old, your 8 year old, your 10, your 11, 12, 13 child needs to develop grit. When you become intentional about having your child stay on task and see their task through, when you become intentional about your child becoming passionate and committed to the goals that they have set, when you make this a priority in your child's growth and development, then, and you do this early enough, what you are going to do is you are going to help the child learn to be persistent in whatever they do, and you will help them move on the spectrum of motivation. I always like to say, think of motivation as, you know how you do number line and you have zero or the minus and all the way to zero, and then one down the line, 1 to 10, at that point where you're teaching children number line. Think of motivation on that spectrum like that, all right? From a motivation or zero motivation, and then it comes down to external motivation. There are different levels of external motivation, and then you move on to intrinsic or internal motivation, and you move on that spectrum from internal motivation to the point of determination and passion. That is what it is that you should put at the back of your mind at every point. I do that. So I'm constantly asking myself for my children, or for the children that I work with in the mastermind circle. All right, you've heard me say mastermind circle, mastermind circle. So the mastermind circle is a peer mentorship and accountability group that we run for children between ages 6 and we graduate them after they turn 14, because we want to help them learn grit. We want to work with you, partner with you as a parent, to help your children learn all of these skills that they need to have a successful teenage life, to have a productive and resourceful, to become productive and resourceful teenagers. You do not want to waste the time when your child is a teenager, quarreling and fighting and logging heads over every kind of silly things. Because the truth is, if you don't get them skilled when they are school age children and preteens, you will spend the whole of their teenage years disconnecting and quarreling and being at each other's neck. The teenage phase is one phase where parents lose their relationship with their children so much. If you are a teenage parent here, then you should know what I'm talking about. If you are not careful, that is when a lot of things will begin to go wrong in your relationship. That's when you begin to hear parents say, oh, this child that used to be obedient is not obedient anymore. This child that used to be caring is not caring anymore. This child that would listen to you doesn't listen anymore. And then we begin to look for everything around us to blame it on. Oh, it is the new school, or it is secondary school, or it's the new friends. It is this, it is that. No, it is not. It is because you didn't spend the time that you had between school age and preteen to help the child get in as many skills as possible. An unskilled child will weary you, and usually that's you don't notice how much they weary you until they become teenagers. You don't notice how much is missing in your child until they become teenagers. So if you don't skill your children when they are 6 and 10 and 12 and 13, it will begin to manifest when they are 16, 17. And then you will realize that you are always angry at them. You're always fighting, because now the manifestation of the lack of skill is beginning to, it is beginning to show at that stage. Because at that stage, you are irritated. You are irritated that your teenager is watching a movie or is listening to music, and you come in and he doesn't move a muscle. Like, he doesn't move a muscle. He is indifferent, or she is indifferent, about the fact that you just got in on all of that. You can be there and you are not feeling well, and your teenager or your teenager, will just come and say, oh, sorry, mommy. That's pretentious things that children can have. Oh, yes. If you're going to be truthful, let's face it. They can come in and be like, oh, mommy, are you okay? Hope you're fine, and all of that. And then you need something. They won't put themselves in this place in the space to help you get that thing that they need, all right, that you need. But they are there trying to feign concerns. But when it comes to coming down to helping you, they can come and ask you, "Ah, mommy, how are you feeling? Are you okay? Oh, sorry. Okay, do you want me to get you water to take your meds?" You get them, they get you water. But they will not realize you need to eat food, right? They won't realize you need to eat food. And so if there is no cook or there is no house help to do it, let's say your cook or house help is ill or is not there, or you just one just left or something like that, you realize they finish sounding all nice and all of that. But when it comes to bringing themselves to doing something to help the situation, they will be good like this, like worms, and they will disappear. It's unskilled. It's because the child has not been given that responsibility, and the child has not learned the empathy as a skill. Do you understand? You will see your child come in there, and of course, you are there late for work. You're late for work, and you're trying to get a shirt ironed or something like that, or you just stained your shirt and all of that, and something goes wrong. And they're like, "Oh, sorry, mommy," and all that. They are not offering, "Oh, okay, let me do something to help you fix the situation," because the child is unskilled. That's what's going on there. Okay, you have a situation, you have so many things you need to do. Only you need to do this, need to do that, and your child is there tapping soccer, or your child is there playing a video game, and you are here with 1,001 things mounted that you have to do. Your child is looking at you and saying, "Well done, mommy," or "Sorry, mommy," but no, they are not offering to help you in any way. This is what we're talking about. So it's those skills. Now, when they were 8, it wasn't a problem. Hi, Christabel. Hello, Amarachi. All right. So when they were 8, it wasn't a problem, because at 8, you were in the kitchen. You had Agnes. You had everyone to help you. So you didn't look at them. Oh, they were just 8. Before you know it, you will not realize that, okay, your 8-year-old has turned to a 10-year-old. A 12-year-old, you are not still bothered. In fact, at 13, they've gone to boarding school. You're not still bothered. You're not coming, and your 15-year child, or when they now become 16 in their final year, or during the holiday from boarding school, the child is lying down there, and you're going through all of it. Now you become irritated. Because what is wrong with you? Can you not see? Can't you be helpful? So the irritation begins, and then all of a sudden, child is wondering, what's going on with you? Why are you picking on me all of a sudden? Why is it this? Nothing I do is okay for you. You're always complaining. After all, in her friend's house, they have 4 house helps there, 4 domestic staff there. They don't have to lift a finger. They don't have to pick a pin and all of these, and they're happy there. Why is it in your house that you have to stress me? So you see, all of the wahala will not come into your relationship. So yes, it is not because your child changed. It is not because anything got damaged. It is simply because the time between 6 and 13 or 14, when you should have been skilling them up, you were busy being a macho mommy or whatever daddy you were being. And so it will come. What do they call it? Say it. The cock will come to roost, or who will come to roost? Whatever. And so eventually it becomes a challenge. All right. So these are the reasons why it's important that we begin to teach grit right now. So we're going to look now at strategies that we can use to put grit in place. All right. What are the strategies that we can use to, help our children, begin to learn grit? I started by saying, if your child is not setting goals, if your children are not setting goals, then there is nothing to work with, because grit is you staying right to achieve a long-term goal. All right, so there has to be a goal in the first place for you to stay on there and persist. There has to be a goal for you to stay on there to achieve. There has to be a goal for you to be resilient. There has to be a goal. Now, it cannot be your goal. Now, when you make it about just the instructions that you give, then your children do not own it. Some of us don't understand or believe in the concept of goal setting, and we don't do these things. And so what we do is we just wake up and we give our children instructions and we walk away. And then we come back and we're so upset that they did not carry out those instructions. It's because the child did not own it. Okay, how about you actually have these things that you expect from the child, and let's say you set weekly goals in your home. And at the beginning of the week, by way of That's what we do with the children in the mastermind by way of a to-do list. You can have a weekly list, to do, or a daily list. The moment you move it to the child setting that plan or creating that plan, you have moved it from it being your instruction to the child's responsibility. So when we say to our 6-year-olds in the mastermind, do a to-do list, all we are doing is handing them power. All we're doing is handing them autonomy. What we're doing is telling them you have a responsibility, not one that I am imposing on you, but one that you are compelling yourself to do. That is the only way your child can move on the spectrum from A, motivation or zero motivation, to the point where your child becomes passionate or becomes determined. At the beginning, it will be mommy or Coach Marybeck or matron that said I should do a to-do list. With time, the children wake up and they say to themselves, oh, it's a day, this day, I cannot just sleep the whole day. I'm going to have to achieve some things, all right? But if you don't put your children in the space where they understand that they are here for a reason, every day is an opportunity to become better. Every day is an opportunity to solve a problem. Every day is an opportunity to change the world. How are they going to set goals for themselves for the day? So we need to make our children understand that every day is a part of the puzzle of your entire life. Every day is a part of your entire life. So not a single day should be wasted. So it means that for every day, there is an activity. So what are the activities that you are doing today? We can begin to have this kind of conversations with our children. That's why we always say, bring your children to mentorship groups. Bring your children to us in the mastermind circle. I've said this over and over. The mastermind circle is a foundation ground. It is where we are building habits. Okay? I just said now that the third point here is that you are instilling habits, right, that will help your children become determined and persistent. It is through those habits that your children will become determined and persistent. It is the habit. So habit training is key. So when you bring them to the mastermind circle, it is a foundation ground. It does not say you are not a great parent. Some of us think that the moment you enroll your child into a mentorship program is because you're trying to say you are not good enough a parent or you don't know certain things. No, there are two different things altogether. If nothing else, parents, look at it this way. See, you don't want to be the only voice that your child listens to. What it means or what that tells you is that when you are not there, your child listens to no other person. You want to give your children permission to trust trusted people that you introduce them to. You need to introduce trusted adults in your child's life, especially people who share common values as you and people who share visions or the same kind of vision that you share for your child. Now, your child needs to be listening to voices that corroborate the things that you are saying. Because if you are saying these things alone, and they are not hearing it from voices that sound like you, it becomes as if you are the one that just has wahala. You know how children think that their parents' own is too much. We have this way of thinking. It's not our parents exaggerate everything, especially our moms, right? So children have a way of feeling mommies. Have you heard them talking about us? You should listen to your teenagers talking about us. They think we're just a bowl of wahala. Do you understand? So at this phase, and we were here once upon a time now, hello. So we were all here once upon a time, and we thought that same way too. We thought our mothers were dramatic. They were just extra, and all of that. Now you want to help your children understand early that no, you are not just extra, right? You want the best for them and all of that. Now, how do they know, understand, and begin to believe this? It's when they have other voices that are not exactly their parents who are speaking the same language as you are speaking, right? If you leave them just to their friends and just to their overwhelmed teacher that has 30 children in the school, they may not have enough time to sound like you sound. Besides, you cannot guarantee that the teacher has all the same values that you have. I say it a lot of the time that the circular school system is that place where you have so many mixed, what do you call it? People from all kinds of backgrounds and all of that. For one, your child's classmates are children from all kinds of backgrounds. I just had a power cut. Sorry about that. And I am alone. Can't help us right now. Let's see if my battery can do something. Okay, so thank God it's during the day, so we can throttle on. Do I take on my video or Do we just do this dark background? Sorry about this. All right, so these are the things. So the school system is actually that place where you have some of the most, I mean, the most widespread, people from widespread backgrounds. You have people from different tribes, different religion, different mindsets, different ideology, different all kinds of things, basically. Okay, and so are the teachers, different mindset, different, and all of that. So no, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the school system. I'm just saying you want a closer system, or you want a closer system or a closer ally, right? That can help you be that voice that corroborates the things that you are saying, so that your children understand that it's not just about you. It is the voice of reasoning, it is the voice of wisdom, it is all of that. So no, it is important that you introduce your children to other adults in their lives that they can also listen to. And so that's the place of mentorship, and that's the place of, when we have programs like this, the mastermind circle, where the children can be, with other children that have like minds. They can be with mentors that have expectations of them, that hold them accountable. So it is about an accountability system. Let them know that that whole idea of you being free to do as you like is an illusion. There is nothing like freedom. Freedom is actually responsibility. Freedom is accountability. So let your children know that you are free. Now, I believe that you can do a lot of things, and you have a coach that is going to be holding you accountable to lead yourself. So these things are very key, and this is why it's important that our children begin to join and belong to mentorship programs like the Mastermind Circle. So we have about 20 slots left in the Mastermind Circle before we shut down completely for our yearly subscription at the end of this month. All right, so you want to grab that slot. You want to grab one of those slots for your child. If you have children between 6 and 14, please get them to join us in the Mastermind Circle. They can join us today, right now, because as soon as we fill those slots up, we are going to stop. Sorry. So as soon as we fill the slots up, we will stop. What happened? Okay, sorry. So as soon as we fill the slots up, we will stop admitting, and that's it. You're not able to get into the yearly program anymore. But I tell you, it's such a robust system. You will be glad that you brought your child to us in the Mastermind Circle. It's a whole full transformation. All right, so we have the information scrolling on the screen right now. You can use it to register your child or reach us on the number. There's a number on the screen also. You can use that to contact us for more information. Okay, as I said, we take children between ages 6 and 13. All right, or even 14. It's just that at the end of this cohort, your child will graduate with the other kids, meaning the child will be with us for only about a year. And that's fine, or a number of months, especially if your 14-year-old has a lot of gaps. Let them come in. All right, so thank you. So that's the information you have there. So let's look at strategies that can help our children, strategies that we can use to help our children develop grit starting right now. All right, so as I said, number one is set long-term goals. Set long-term goals. Let your children begin to set long-term goals. I was saying to the children in the Mastermind Circle the other day, at every point in your life, ensure that you are setting goals for yourself. Ensure that you are setting small projects for yourself. Parents also do that. Have small projects that you are doing with your children every now and then. Oh, I think I dropped it in my room. So I saw our daughter, right? I saw today while after they left for school, I went into her room to see how she left her room. And I saw, oh my goodness, my A4 paper I've suffered in this house. All right. So I saw a bunch. I'm sure she must have cut up to 10 A4 papers, because she had like lovely cuts, pages. She's writing a comic book. Right, so she's writing a comic book, and I don't know whether it's a series because the papers were so many. But I noticed that she's done up to like 8 pages. Right, yesterday I was busy, and I noticed she kept on writing the whole of yesterday. She was writing on and on and on. I was too busy to ask her what she was writing, but today I saw what she was writing. She was actually doing a comic book. So my daughter loves to draw. So she's writing and she's illustrating that book on her own. Now, when you allow children, or when you bring children to that space, because of course, a lot of the times it's because of what you have done Our daughter is 9, but she got a lot of stimulation in during the foundation years. So between 0 and 6, our daughter was highly stimulated. All right. So she did all of those hands-on activities. We created books together, we read stories, we wrote books, we talked, and all of that. We had collaborative projects together. So we can decide we want to write a book together, and then she will write chapter 1 of the book, I will write chapter 2 of the book. We did all of those things. So because all that programming has happened, or because we have sown all of those seeds, now she's older and she is self-motivated to do things in that area without you pushing her or you saying anything. So now it's me hiding my A4 paper. It's not even cheap anymore. So it's me. I look at it and I'm like, okay, I just take a bit and put somewhere and then hide the rest. If not, she will use all the paper in the house and tell you she's writing books. She has 6 books that she's written. So I don't know how many books she plans to write before she's old enough, right? So basically that. So help your children, be in that space where they learn to set short-term and long-term goals, for themselves. All right. You also want to set goals together. Do collaborative projects with your children, right? Do collaborative projects with your children where you can set a goal together and you try to achieve the goal together. All right. Do something with your child. It will actually help you bond, right? It will help you bond. And then, of course, it gives you an opportunity to teach the child about grit. When our son was 9, he came home and he had joined the entrepreneur club. He had joined the entrepreneur club at the time, and they gave him some money to invest on a business, and he started running the juice business. He started running a juice business. All right. So now before then, I had never thought of him doing business at all. We were not in that space where I would think, oh, what can you do? What can you say? He was from school. So he came and then we brainstormed together and we started by buying a basket of oranges. He sold, he made some profits. And then after that project was, Entrepreneur Club, and after he had returned the 500, it was 500 they gave him. After he had returned the 500 and he made 1,500 because he sold the juice for 2,000 naira. He decided that he wanted to do another batch, and all of that. So at some point, it was stressful because I had to do the buying. Okay, yeah, when I'm going to shop for the house, I just buy him a basket of orange at that time. All right, so the next time I bought him 2 baskets. All right, we didn't have any form of, technical juicers at the time. So we had to juice the oranges manually. And it was he was only 9. All right, so it was tedious for me, but I was able to get the opportunity. I mean, I was able to get that rema from the situation, and I said to myself, oh, this is a teachable opportunity. It's a teachable opportunity, and it's something I can leverage on, especially because it was intrinsically motivated, or at least it was motivated from a club that he insisted that he wanted to join. He joined that club and they gave him the project and he was excited about the project. So the project was driven by him, not me. And he was the one that made up his mind he was going to continue with it, not me. So I just said, okay, this is it. This is an opportunity to teach grit. It's an opportunity to teach other skills like, rejection, where he has to sell. So I made up my mind I was never going to help him sell by way of market his products. But when it comes to production, I was going to help him with production. And then, of course, he also the idea was, oh, his dad is into, finances, and all of that. We were both bankers once upon a time, right? So his dad knows a lot about, right? So for me, it was also an opportunity for him to start having those money conversations with his dad. It was an opportunity for his dad to become his accountability partner when it comes to, the financial part of his business. So immediately in my head, I saw too many opportunities for skill development and all of that. And so I decided, okay, let's do this. So I partnered with him. That's what it meant. Automatically, it became a project, not necessarily, it became a joint project, whether I liked it or not, because I had to. So, but at this point, I decided to do it willingly without seeing the stress in it. All right. I decided to do it willingly. So it simply means we start production on Thursday. After school, he works on his juice business for 1 hour every day, 1 hour on Thursday, 1 hour on Friday, 1 hour on Saturday, and we have all the juices for the week prepared basically. I didn't want to do it on my own. It's his business. He should be a part of it. All right. So with that, you're teaching the child grit. So he knows whatever happens, he comes back from school on Thursday. All right. And he finishes with his homework and he knows that he has 1 hour to give to the business. So all he needs to do is factor that 1 hour in. Of course, we didn't want to overwhelm him, but at this point, he was so excited. Okay. So that's why it's not beyond 1 hour. So he knows from 5 to 6, he's going to do after his homework, he's going to work with me. So is either washing the oranges or it's peeling the oranges and I'm doing the juicing, and all of that. And so that's how he graduated. We moved on till we bought bigger machines. And here we are, how many years later? 9. He's almost 15. He's 15 in a couple of weeks. And he's been doing this from when he was 9 till now that he's going to turn 15. All right. So it has never really been, of course, we don't want to trivialize money. It's very key. At this point, it is before now, it was never really about how much money, how much money was in the bank. It was not. It was more like how much marketing skill can he learn? How much rejection can he learn from this? So sometimes he goes to a group and would you like some juice? And they'll be like, oh, no, not today. And he's like, okay, maybe next week. And he moves on. So he has learned to accept rejection. If you don't buy from me, it's fine. If you buy from me, it's fine. He's learned that. He's learned to follow up on payments. People buy from him and say, I'll pay you next week in church and all of that. The next week, he's able to walk up to them or send them a message during the week and say, okay, just a reminder. He's learned to follow his investment like that. He's learned many other skills through this singular activity. He's learned to check up on his distributors and call, order for bottles, order for juices. Yeah, I mean, for the products, basically. He's moved from 1 variant to 4 variants, So all of this, there's been progress and all of that. It is only now that he's almost 15 that he is in that space where he has now decided, okay, I want to rebrand. I want to this. Now he's beginning to think like a real business person. But we didn't jump into all of that when he was 10, 11. We didn't even jump anywhere. He has just grown on the spectrum on his own gradually. And now he's thinking of, what other ways can I do this? So I am watching and I'm just, we're watching. His dad and I are watching and we're excited, we're excited for the journey so far. It's little, it may not seem like anything, but it's huge. Do you understand? So that's it. Do projects with them together this way and get them into that space where you can use this to build resilience, build grit, and all of the skills that they need to navigate, skills that can be transformed as they grow older. All right, it will help them to embrace failure, right, as learning. It will help them to embrace failure as learning. I remember one of those days when he started selling, when he was still 9. Okay, and the motivation was to sell at football club. That's how he started selling. During break time, during football, I would go. At that time, I had a domestic staff, so I would drop both of them at the stadium. All right. Or sometimes I'm exercising at the stadium while he's doing practice, and then the things are in the car. And then during break time, he will come, drag his cooler, and he will sell, and all of that. Then after practice, he will stay on for about 15, 20 minutes afterwards to sell to those who wanted, So that's how he started. So I remember one of those days I had to go to the market and I had dropped, the lady to stay with him, during practice and of course, with the stuff because I wasn't there, the car wasn't there. So I came back and while I was gone, they were ready to go and they called me that they were ready to go. Practice was over and he's done selling and he's done with selling, and there was a sad note on his, when he was speaking with me, and I'm like, what happened? He's like, I didn't sell a single bottle today. I had a good laugh. I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm coming to get you. All right. So I came and I got him and he got into the car and I started laughing. And I said to him, that's it. That's how business works. There are good days and there are bad days. So that became a lesson, on failure or disappointments, and how it should be a learning point for you. So I asked him, what do you think you did differently? What do you think you could have done differently? Why do you think they didn't buy today? And all of that. And so that way he had to learn to reflect and think, okay, maybe this, maybe that, maybe I could do this differently, and all of that. At some point he had to think, okay, maybe I should start doing 30 cl bottles too, apart from the 50 cl that he started with. Okay, and that's how he introduced the 30 cl bottles. So at different points he's had to go back to the drawing board, think here, think there, and all of that. So that's it. This is how you build resilience. This is how you build, all of this one. The next one is foster passion. All right, and foster passion. As I said, our son has grown, over the years in this business, right? He's grown over the years in this business. There were times that his motivation was down. There was time that it was well up. I remember at a time I stopped doing his accounting, and I'm like, do your accounting yourself. You have grown in this. You've been doing this for 3 years, and every week there was a problem. Every week he's either losing some money, or he will not remember who bought, who did not buy, and all of that. And at some point I was beginning to get upset. Like, what's wrong with you? How can you sell and you throw your money? Or how can you do this and all of that? And I decided to even talk to my mentor. I was talking to my mentor and coach about it. Like, okay, why would he be doing something and he's not concerned, or he's not so tied to his money, like he doesn't want to lose it and all of that? And she said, that's it. You may be putting a lot of pressure when you insist on this. The child is still a child, and at this juncture, the child is not ready for this particular skill. All right. So let the skills that you are honing be the one that you focus on, and take the ones that are too much. Let the child glide into it gradually. And that was an eureka moment for us, because I was able to think about it. I'm like, okay, yeah, that made some sense. So he could do the Excel sheets. With that, he learned, of course, he could do Excel, but with that, he learned to create his own templates, and all of that. He created the templates, and I go ahead and do all the compilation and imputes, and all of that, and he didn't have to bother with the accounting part, because the accounting part was beginning to make him lose steam, because he didn't have the hang of that skill. So this is it. It's why you are practicing that all of this, you get the opportunity to build and, let the child learn other things, and all of that. So this is why we put programs that we put together. So we have a course that is coming up in November for children. All right. What we want to do is we want to take in a number of children, not too many. Okay. We want to take in a number of children into that course. What we want to do with the children during this course is help them, walk with them through the journey to build resilience. All right. We want to help them launch something. Right? We want to help them launch something. And that something doesn't mean that you are launching a business, that you are going to start making money. No, it may not be a business. We want children to get into a project. All right? It's called The Path to Becoming a Resourceful Teenager. That's the course that we are doing in November. All right. It's for children between ages 8 and 14. We want to get your children in that space where we can help them build grit. We can help them come up with projects for themselves. We're going to be with the children. It's a weekend class, so strictly weekend classes, but we're going to be with the children for 4 straight weeks. Strictly weekend classes. There will be projects. They will have to stretch themselves. We will work with them, but it's going to be their goals. They will set their goals. They will create plans for those goals, of course, with our assistance. We will walk through that journey together. But we want to put your children in that space for 1 whole month, where we can grind in grit, resilience, perseverance, the ability to think, the ability to do something. We want your children to do something from scratch to finish. Okay, we want them to put themselves in that space where they can do a project for a whole month, because they have been able to motivate themselves to do it. So you may want to speak to your child about it and use this to challenge the child. So enroll the child, talk to them about it, enroll them, and tell them it's going to be fun. Okay, think of it as one of those Project Fame or one of those things that you watch on TV. Think of it that way. But basically, we want to work with your child and help you and the child recognize that they've got capacity, so that from there they can throttle on to other things. All right. So yes, it's a course, and we will share the flyer after this session, so that you can register your child to be a part of it. All right. The last one we're going to be talking about is it will help you model grit. Okay, so when you start teaching your child about this, it'll help you model grits. I mean, look at how I have talked about our son's journey and how I had to join in that project, and it's not been the easiest thing to do, right? But this is it. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So in April of next year, our son would have run that business for 6 years. Of course, I must have been resilient myself, isn't it? I must have modeled, a level of grit for him to hang in there. All right. So we had to put ourselves in a position where we're modeling to him. His father has done tremendously, in encouraging him and supporting him and all of that. His father is one of his biggest customers. All right. To date, and then he has his trusted customers that would order for packs, and all of that. But basically, what have we been able to do? And with what I do also, I've been able to stay in there, stay in power, and all of that. And the child has been able to learn just watching us stay on and drive the things that we do. He's been able to also learn, and all of that. And that's what this course is also going to do. If you enroll your child, let them just learn, stay in power, so that we can work with them and give them all kinds of practical examples so that they can understand the place of grit in all that they do. All right. So children raised with grit will grow into adults who are unstoppable. Parents, don't forget that. If you raise your preteens with grit today, they will become, first of all, teenagers who are productive and resourceful, teenagers who are passionate and can drive themselves, and automatically they will become adults who are unstoppable. We have examples of adults like this. We've heard the story of Michael Jordan. Okay, I talked about Michael Jordan in my book, Bedtime Stories for Champions, where Michael Jordan wasn't tall enough, but he wanted to play basketball so much. He got so much that at some point he had to take every extra time he had to practice. He will go and practice on his own without anybody. I talked about this in Bedtime Stories for Champions. He will practice on his own. Once upon a time, his brother, who was older and taller and used to beat him, he wanted to get to the point that he became so good, right? And then he pushed himself, even at the point where he was rejected from joining the school team. He didn't make it to the school team. He continued to push himself and practice day and every opportunity he had until he started to beat his brother at the game. And of course, he got enrolled and even ended up going to school on a scholarship because of basketball. And of course, we all know who can think basketball. I mean, basketball today and you don't think of a Michael Jordan. All right. We know the story of Malala. I also wrote about Malala in this book. All right. Malala, the little girl from Pakistan, Uzafi, and how she wanted to go to school by all means, even when the Taliban wouldn't make that happen for the girl child. They shut down the schools, they shot her on the head, and all of that. She was resilient. She refused to stop. She was persistent because she had grit. So these are stories of people. We also hear the story of J.K. Rowling's. These are all people. We have stories of people who have shown, perseverance. Even Barack Obama. We wrote about Barack Obama. I also wrote about Barack Obama in Bedtime Stories for Champions, and how he was determined and told himself he was going to be the first black president because he could. And then he went on and on and on until, did he achieve it or not? He did achieve it. So if we don't start cultivating or programming our children like this today, then we do not, by the time they are teenagers, it becomes difficult for them to believe this much. Do you understand? And then apart from that, there is something that time does. I believe very strongly that time is one of the best gifts that you can give to your child as a parent. The gift of time. And how can you give your child the gift of time? Apart from you being present in their life and spending time and giving them time, the other way you can do it is to make sure that your children begin to grow and begin to hone skills as early as possible. That is the gift of time. Your 6-year-old is already in a mentorship program. Your 6-year-old is already in the mastermind circle, he's already developing himself. That is a blessing you are giving to the child, the blessing of time. All right, very, very important. So thank you. This is where we're going to call the day off. All right, on the show. I hope you got value. Of course, you got value from this session. If you did, let us know in the comment section. If you have a section, why do I always say session? All right, if you did, let us know in the comment section that you got value from this session. And if you have a friend that needs to, catch a replay, why don't you share the link on YouTube or tag them on Facebook so they can also catch a replay of this session? All right, look out for the flyer on this video, or after now you will see the flyer for the course, the pathway to becoming a productive or resourceful teenager, so that you can enroll your 8-year-olds to 14-year-olds. It's going to be a wonderful experience, and it's going to be transforming, a 1-month transformation in the month of November. Thank you very much for joining me. If you also like to have your child join our yearly subscription program, the Mastermind Circle, then you have the information on the screen. We have amazing books we write for young children and for preteens. All right, so we have amazing books. If your children are not reading my book, then their development is not complete. Yes, because my books are fun. They are stories, lists, or filled with lots and lots of lessons. All right, so I just talked about bedtime stories. This is my very first book. It's a bestseller. We sold over 4,000 copies of bedtime stories for champions. So your child needs this in their library. My latest books, right? Wisdom Stories for Champions. Amazing. You want to teach your children all about family values and putting family ahead of everything else after God. Then your child should be reading this and understanding the place of family in their lives. Of course, Destined for Greatness is another beautiful, beautiful book. It's not just beautiful outside, it's beautiful inside, and the story is just amazing. All right, Destined for Greatness will teach your child about thinking of themselves as great people. We have talked about icons who have done great things from Africa, right? We have stories here that your children should read and begin to be proud of their heritage. Okay, I mean, money. Children should learn to make money. Children should learn all about financial skills. So my book, where is it? I don't think I have it here. All right. So okay, we have the financial book, Young and Money Smart. That's another beautiful book for your 7+ children. Beautiful, beautiful book. Mindset. We want the children to start thinking money, right? From a change in their mindset. Okay, we also have Playtime Stories for Champions. I told you how my daughter was highly stimulated between 0 and 6. Play was a tool for us. And if you know how much we locked in there just through play, this is filled with over 20 or 30 activities that you can do right in your home, in your living room, to stimulate your young children from age 0 to 10. Amazing. Then we have Christmas Stories for Champions. Please let this be your child's Christmas pack if you don't have it already. Order this book. It's not just about Christmas. It's Christmas, how Christmas was for us growing up in the 80s, and all of that. How, Christmas in the village, Christmas, beautiful illustration, amazing stories, African stories about Christmas and what Christmas was like for us. We've got 10 beautiful Christmas stories in this book. All our books are beautiful. And then, of course, we have the journal. Right, our journal is right here. 365 days, a whole full year journal for your child to learn to reflect. We use this in the Mastermind Circle. Amazing resource. And my only parenting book, Mentor Parent, where I chronicled my journey as a first-time parent or as a parent of a young child. All of our struggles right here. It will help you if you're a young parent or a parent, someone who is about to get married, or you just had your first child. It will help you. Beautiful books. So thank you very much for joining us today. We do not take your time for granted. Have a fantastic week ahead. And you can reach us on Our line 0813062156 for all of your inquiries. Thank you for joining us again. Thank you, Christabel. Thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Bye. Bye.